Okay, welcome back to the power of model drawing once again. Now, today we are going to look at how to draw the multiplication model. Alright, now, the lesson is going to be quite simple, alright, not really very hard. So, what are the lesson objectives? We are going to revise the elements again. What are the essentials that we need to use in model drawing? And then, we are going to learn how to apply the multiplication concept onto the model. Alright, so let's look at example 1. Now, Eileen has twice as many pens as Fanny. Now, can you see the word twice? Now, the word twice means 3 times, and the word times tells you multiplication, right? So Eileen has 3 times as many as Fanny. Now, there is a very important lesson here, right? A foundation lesson. Whenever somebody has 3 times as many as another person, the first person will be 3 times, and the second person is always 1 time. Alright, a very important concept here, alright, which you need to remember. Right, we call it, this is part of the maths language, right? You see the word 3 times, so the first person will have 3 times, and the second person is always one time. Okay, keep reading. Eileen has 54 more pens than Fanny. Oh, that is like your comparison model, right? More than. Okay, how many pens do they have altogether? Alright, so how do we draw out this problem? Now, when you draw the problem, you always start at the beginning, right? Which means that you don't go to the second sentence and you don't start to draw comparison model, which is the wrong way. Now, to start the drawing, you always start at the beginning, alright? So what does the first sentence tells you? Eileen has 3 times. So you draw a rectangle for Eileen and cut it into 3 equal boxes. And Fanny has 1 time, so Fanny will have 1 equal box. That is how you draw the multiplication model, right? And then you go to the next sentence. If Eileen has 54 more pens than. So you look at this multiplication model, it is also like your comparison model. Like Eileen has a longer rectangle and Fanny has a shorter rectangle. So this look like your comparison model also. So where do you put the 54 more than? Which is over here. Alright, 54 more than. Alright, how many pens do they have all together? So your question mark is at the side. When you put the question mark at the side, that represents the sum, the total. Alright, now, and the last thing that you have to do before you study the model, whenever you see equal parts, you call them units. So you have 1 unit, and so on. And now you can solve the problem. So how do you solve the problem? Can you see Eileen has 3 units? Fanny has 1 unit. So how many more units does Eileen have than Fanny? That will be 3 units minus 1 unit. So Eileen has 2 units more. So what have you done? You have written something called unit statements, right? You have unit statements. Alright, and the 2 units more are also equal to 54 more. So model drawing is about making units. And then you have to find what is 1 unit. So 1 unit will be 54, and then you divide by 2, and your 1 unit is 27. Alright, once you can get 1 unit, you can solve the problem. So altogether, they have how many units? So Eileen has 3 units plus 1 unit. Altogether, they have 4 units. And 4 units will be equal to, go back to 1 unit, your 1 unit is 27, and then times 4. And what do you get? So you have to show the working on the right side, but we are not going to do that. We are going to do faster. So I'm going to use my calculator. 27 times 4, and you will get 108 pens altogether. And whatever answer you have found, you add on to the model. Alright, and there you go. That's how you solve the problem using multiplication model. Alright, now let's go on to example number 2. Now, Jenny has twice as many stickers as Susan. Now, the word twice is not the same as thrice. Thrice in the earlier problem is 3 times. Twice means 2 times. And when you see the word, when you say 2 times, it means that it is referring to multiplication. So I can draw multiplication model. And the second person is always 1 time. If they have a total of 84 stickers, how many stickers does Jenny have? So how do we draw the model? Now, again, you start from the beginning. All right. Never draw your model by looking at any sentence to start with. You always start from the beginning, usually, all right, usually for most of the problems. All right, now, so Jenny has 2 boxes or twice, all right, twice, and Susan has 1 time, which is 1 box, right? And that is how you draw the first sentence. Now, if they have a total, and by the way, do not put the units inside yet, all right? One of the guidelines to model drawing is you only put the units as the last step, right? The last step after you finish all your drawing, then you put your units. Why? Because you may need to cut the boxes later on. We are not sure, right? You may have to cut. If you put the units now, and then you want to cut, right? For example, I want to cut. How to cut? You can't cut because there is something already inside. So we always put the units as the last. All right, so let's draw back the 2 boxes and read the next sentence. They have a total of 84 stickers. So this is where you put 84. So how many stickers does Jenny have? And this is your question mark. And when you have completed your drawing, or you know that there's nothing else to draw, then you indicate your 1 unit. All right, and now you can solve the problem. So let's study the model and what can we do. Now you look at the model and you can see that all the units. How many units do they have all together? Jenny has 2 units, and Susan has 1 unit, and total they have 3 units. And 3 units is also the same as 84. So can you find 1 unit? So 84 divided by 3, and your 1 unit is equal to 28. That is the purpose of model drawing, to make units out of the model and then find what is 1 unit, because you can find the answer soon. Once you know what is 1 unit, can you find how many does Jenny have? Jenny has 2 units, right? And 28, and then you times 2. So Jenny has 56 stickers, and add on to your model. So put the answer beside the question mark, and you have solved the problem again using multiplication model, right? So that's how you visualize the problem. All right. So how do you visualize the problem? You draw out the sentence one by one. So at any time, you never see me thinking about how to solve. Right? In my mind, I'm not thinking about what must I do, what is the first step I must do, what's the second step I must do. No, I have in my method, right? When I solve this problem, what am I doing? I'm drawing out the sentences, right, one by one, right? Not much of a thinking. You just have to focus on the drawing, and the more you draw, the model gets clearer, and then what happens? And then you can see for yourself how to work out the answer. Okay, now let's look at practice problem. Let's look at another guided example. All right, so we have one more guided example, and this time it gets more challenging. So let's look at example 1. Now, Danny has twice as many hair clips as Sandy, so it means that Danny has 2 times, and Sandy has 1 time, and Sandy has twice as many hair clips as Tom. So Sandy has 3 times, because the word twice tells you 3 times. And Tom, second person, is always 1 time. If Tom has 25 fewer hair clips than Danny, you have comparison model, right? Because of the fewer than. All right, keep reading. How many hair clips does Sandy have? Now, this looks quite challenging. But again, you don't have to worry, because your job is to produce the model, to draw the sentences, right? So you always start from the beginning. Danny has 2 boxes, 2 times. All right, so that's how you show the 2 boxes, and Sandy has 1 time, which is 1 box. All right, that's the first sentence. And then keep reading. Sandy has 3 times. And if you look at Sandy's rectangle, can you see that her rectangle is only 1 box? But Sandy over here has 3 times. So how to cut into 3 boxes? How to make it 3 times? Well, you look at her rectangle again, and how do you make it 3 times? You just use dotted lines. Okay, dotted lines. Now, why dotted lines to cut into 3 boxes? Because if you use dark lines, then you will get confused, right? When you use dotted lines, you can still see the original size, right? The original size. So we make use of dotted lines whenever we want to cut into smaller boxes. Okay? And then Tom has only one time. So Tom will have one time, one smaller box. That's how you make use of dotted lines, which is another guideline to model drawing, right? When you want to cut boxes into even smaller boxes, you use dotted lines. Alright, then continue reading. If Tom has 25 fewer than Danny, so Tom has 25 fewer, and that is like your comparison model, right? Danny has a longer rectangle than Tom, right? How many hair clips does Sandy have? So now can you see why we don't want to join the rectangles together? Now if you join the rectangles together, like what I said in the earlier lessons, right? In the earlier lesson, something like this, right? Something like this. Now you will not be able to do this, right? Where are you going to put the question mark for Sandy? How many hair clips does Sandy have? So you can't put any. If you put over here, you can't put inside the rectangle, because if you look at the model, there are 3 boxes inside already. So where do you put the question mark? That's why you don't join the rectangles together. You can put the question mark like this. So it's a good habit to separate the rectangles so that you are not restricted in your drawing. Okay, and your model is fantastic, done already. Alright, so if your model is well done, you don't have to look at the problem. Alright, so what do we do next? Now, model drawing is about making units out of the model. So can I make the whole model to have all equal parts, all equal units? Yes, I got 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, and 1 unit, right? Then how about Danny's rectangle? Can I also make them into units? Yes, I can cut using dotted lines, right? So I got 1 unit, and 1 unit, and 1 unit, right? And do the same for the other rectangle. So you cut into 3 smaller boxes and 1 unit each. So now you have made all units, right? You have made the model into all equal units, and that is the purpose of model drawing, to make units of the model so that you can write your unit statements. So Danny has how many units? 6. And you compare with Tom. Tom has how many units? Tom has 1 unit, right? So how many more units does Danny have than Tom? So you minus. Whenever you compare 2 person and you want to find how many more, you minus. So 6 unit minus 1 unit, Danny has 5 units more, and 5 units more, isn't that also equal to 25 more? And you can find 1 unit, which is 1 unit is equal to 25, and then divide by 5, so your 1 unit is 5. And that is the purpose of model drawing, to find what is 1 unit. So now you can find the question mark. So how many hair clips does Sandy have? Sandy has 3 units. So you have 5 times 3, and you get 15. And you solve the problem. Answer 15. And of course, you add on to your model. So what have I done? Right, I have shown you by drawing out the problem, you can actually work out the answer very easily, because you can see clearly you can see clearly for yourself what is 1 unit, and then once you can get 1 unit, you can get Sandy's hair clips, right? Okay, let's look at another example. Now, over here, we are going to look at guided example 2, and let's highlight again. So Mark has 5 times as many as Benny, so which means that Mark has 5 times, which is a multiplication, right? So you think of multiplication model when you start drawing, and the second person is 1 time, always 1 time. Benny has twice, 2 times, as many cards as Charlie, so Charlie has 1 time, second person also. If Mark has 36 more cards than Charlie, how many cards does Benny have? Alright, so we are going to, once again, we are going to draw out the problem. Alright, and there is nothing much to think about. Right, your job is to just focus on the drawing. You don't have to think about what is step number 1, what is step number 2, and then try to do the mental steps, mental workings in your mind. There is no need for all this, right? You should be putting everything down on the paper, right? So let's draw out the sentence. Mark has 5 times. So rectangle cut into 5 times. You can see that I'm just drawing. I'm not even thinking about how to solve. All right, and Benny has only 1 time. So Benny 1 time. Okay, all right, keep reading. Benny has twice as many cards as Charlie. Oh, if you look at Benny's rectangle, right, which is this rectangle, and Benny has, okay, this is Mark. Okay, Mark has 5 times. Okay, and if you look at Benny's rectangle, which is this shorter rectangle, and it has only 1 box. Okay, 1 box for Benny. And if you look at the next sentence, which is Benny has twice. So how do you make this box into 2 times? How can you cut it into 2 boxes? So you just, all right, use your dotted line and cut into 2 smaller boxes. All right. So without changing the length of Benny's rectangle, you don't make it longer. All right. You still retain, you still have the same size, but how to make it into twice? You just cut it into 2 smaller boxes. All right, and then Charlie will have 1 time, which is 1 time of the smaller box. Got it? All right. So once again, right, Benny has 2 small boxes and Charlie has 1 small box, which is 1 time. And continue to add on to your model. If Mark has 36 more than Charlie, so arrow sign. Right, what are the essentials of your model drawing? You must have labeling, you must have arrow sign, and the arrow sign will tell you Mark has 36 more than Charlie. Alright, how many cards does Benny have? So you can see that if I separate the rectangles for each person, I do not restrict myself from drawing. I can have some space to put the question mark for Benny. So it's a good idea not to join their rectangles together. Otherwise, your drawing gets restricted, right? You can't do much with your drawing. Okay, so have you filled in the numbers into the model? Have you transferred all the information onto the model? If yes, then your model is well done. But there's one more thing that you need to do. You need to create units, which is what you have done already. So you need to label. All right, label the units. Now, can you see that Benny and Charles, they have equal parts, all right? They have equal boxes, right? Charlie has 1 unit, Benny has 2 smaller boxes, which is 2 units. But how about Mark? How do you make Mark's rectangle to have equal units as well, to have the same size, to have the same units? You have dotted lines again. All right, every box cut into 2 smaller boxes. Can you see every box is cut into 2, and now you can call them units also. So the whole model has been cut into equal units or equal boxes. All right, that is the purpose of model drawing, is to make units out of the model. So how many cards does Benny have? All right, so that's your question mark. And we can solve the problem already. So let's study the model and let's compare Mark and Charlie. Right, Mark has how many units? So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Mark has 10 units. Charlie has 1 unit. How many more? Minus. So Mark has 9 units more. So 9 units more will be equal to 36. So 1 unit will be 36 divided by 9. And 1 unit is equal to 4. And you can solve the problem. So Benny has 2 units. So Benny has 2 units. That will be 4 times 2 and 8. And you have solved the problem very easily and very fast, right? So what is the lesson today? Now the lesson today is about drawing the comparison model, but we are looking at more challenging problems now, but it's still not a difficult issue. It's still not difficult for us to solve because we have the method to apply, and the method is model drawing. So you just have to draw out the sentences, and once you can draw out the sentences, you can see the model more clearly, and then you can create your unit statements. Right? What are unit statements? All these are called your unit statements. and then you have to find what is 1 unit, and then once you can find 1 unit, you can solve the problem, right? Okay, so we have come to the end of our lesson on multiplication model, and in the next lesson we will go into some other types of model. Alright, so stay tuned to the next lesson.